We talked earlier. My goodness.
The
Before we get
pleasure,
started,
the pleasure
oh,
is all mine, Stevie. Thank you for having me.
you are so welcome. Fashion Dolls, happy Wednesday, May 20th. Before I start off our conversation with the one and the only Bree Star, Miss Mary Puss, I want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you to T.S. Madison. Thank you to Hope Giselle. Thank you to Peppermint. Thank you to any other Black trans woman that be out here being unapologetically, authentically on the front lines. I want to say thank you to Angelica Ross. I want to give all of you your flowers, sisters in the community, because without you, I would not be here. I would not be going and on the front lines, urging other people to keep going as well too. And watching your commentary as I spoke with you, we had a conversation prior to. Commentary has gotten me through some of the most darkest days, where it is an attack on us every single day in the LGBTQIA plus community, especially us as African American trans women. They are now to label trans people as counterterrorism. So it's the onslaught against us in the LGBTQ community continues. And there's so many of us out here on the front lines. So I wanted to start the show off saying thank you face to face. I watch your videos, we watch your videos, repost, we share. My colleague Bubs the God has incorporated some of your videos into his commentary because he, as a black man that is in the queer community, he gets it from your perspective as well too, and he calls you one of the mothers of the movement. I agree, and I second that notion. I call you and T.S. Madison and Hope Giselle. I know you guys can't fill her shoes, but I feel like you guys are our modern day Marsha P. Johnson. Y'all
Mm,
keep her legacy going. Y'all are the mothers of us. And
mm,
I want my brothers in the LGBTQ community to understand that trans women without us leading the movement, leading the protests for you on the front lines, you would not have your rights. Now we're seeing all of us being attacked, and we'll dive into that later. But to give you your flowers and say thank you. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for inspiring me to keep me going, to be a vessel for the next generation because you, Madison, Hope, y'all have done the work consecutively and we
mm.
see it. Whereas my brothers in the community, I have to get on their ass sometimes, Bree. Like, hey, these women out here advocating for you, and even as it pertains to the the comedian Darren Fleet, like I've had to tap some of my brothers on the shoulder, like it's like, well, that's his thing. No, no, no. Transphobia and phobia, to me, in my opinion, are on the scale of white supremacy. And I make
Oh
the
yeah.
connection. Yes, I make the connection because it is a form of oppression. You are oppressing people. So to not accept yourself is a form of oppression in my opinion. So again, I wanted to say thank you for advocating for the ones who are voiceless. Thank you for inspiring me to keep going because there are days I do this platform Monday through Friday and they honestly do not want to get up out of the bed and go. But looking at your videos, your commentary, and when one of my colleagues, shout outs to Deshaun, he'll share it to the group. He'll like, okay, she went live. I was like, I missed it. So I always go back and I watch plays and I get a laugh out of it.
Thank you.
So thank you for bringing us joy. Thank you for also informing and educating those who are aware. It is not an easy task, as you can see, because I've sent you some of my previous interviews. Had Hope on the platform, as well as a plethora of other Black trans women and trans women of color who have been here, and all of our experiences are the same. We've encountered some sort of transphobia. And Madison, yes, transphobia affects all women, as we can see right now in the current state of the world that we're in. So I wanted to start the show off with that. So thank you. And how was your 2026 been thus
First off, Let me tell you, thank you for that introduction. Thank you for putting me in the sentence with those women because they are my inspirations as well. And even the idea that I could be mentioned in the same sentence as the women that you brought up before and some of our ancestors, it still gives me chills. I'm still processing the fact that the little black tranny from the small town is having an effect on the community and in a positive way. And I'm honestly just grateful. Grateful to whoever you believe, whether it's God, Allah, the universe. I'm grateful that I could use my voice for something other than just talking to the wind, for something other than just screaming and crying at my phone. I'm glad that my voice is reaching the people who want to and the people who need to hear it. So I just want to say thank you first. But my 2026, real talk, my 2026 has been incredible. I need y'all to stay tuned. I know you will be stay tuned, Stevie, everybody watching all of the people that you named plus more, we are collectively coming up with some surprises. And it 2026, even though the political state we're in, it's looking dreary and it's looking nasty and sad and all of those things. Black trans people are doing what black trans people have always done in this time. And weirdly enough, it's bringing us together. It's reminding us how much our voices matter, and it's reminding us what we're here for. So even though this is a hard time politically, a lot of us were kind of prepared for it. And we've been doing some stuff behind the scenes, and I'm just excited for what's going to be unrolling these next few weeks, these next few months. It's not a lot that I could say right now because of contracts and things, but I'm just so excited for the things that's coming out. I've been super incredibly inspired um, by people. I've been meeting people. I've been outside. It's getting warm outside again. So I've been outside. I've been traveling, and I've been meeting people and being online and seeing numbers. And being online and seeing comments and seeing chats is one thing, but actually being out in the streets and meeting people in person, like it brings a whole different reality to the situation. So, for anybody who's been following me, the last couple of years have been a little rough with my mental health, but my mental health journey is back on point. I'm back in a good space. I'm back building support. I have support, and I'm just feeling beyond blessed, honestly, Stevie. Like it's no other way I can put it, but I'm feeling hopeful. I'm feeling hopeful for the future. I definitely am. I'm feeling hopeful for the trans community and the moves that we're making. And the fight, the fight is being fought, whether the people see it or not. The fight is really being fought, and whether y'all realize it or not, the Black trans community is coming together. People who you might have never expected to see in the same room, we are coming together. And we've heard the cries from the outsiders. Oh, how the black trans is going to say this and how the trans is going to say that. Y'all don't even get
Right.
along. Oh, baby, we got a tea for you, honey. We don't get along. You're going to gag, bitch. Honey, yes, we talk shit to each other. Yes, we read because trans people, we are known to be honest. We show that in the way that we live.
Right.
We are honest in the way that we walk. And I think that's why a lot of people are intimidated by us, especially people who try to fit themselves into boxes like cisgender and hetero and white and male. I think we scared the fuck out of them because just us existing and walking in the world, we're truth tellers, whether we open our mouths or not. And I know that these people have an agenda to separate us and break us up and to beat us down, but
Yes.
in typical Black folk fashion, we are not just our trans ancestors, we are our Black ancestors as well. The Harriet Tubman lives in our veins, the Martin Luther King lives in our veins, the Malcolm X lives in our veins as well. And we are doing just what we've always done as Black people. When you tell us we can't, we're going to show you how well we can do it. So I'm just excited. How's your 2026 going, Stevie?
It's been fabulous. It's been fabulous. And this is so surreal. It's a full circle moment because when I reached out to your team about, I was like, she's not going to want to collaborate with me and do a live with me. I'm like, she's so big. She's up there with Madison on the State of Emergency panel. And I just had my own thoughts, girl. So I'm just like, this is the year for me. I like to do vision boards. And I said 2026 for me is the year that is all coming to fruition. I put more on my board, Bree. And it's like everything that I put into perspective, it is happening all so fast. Like people are paying attention. And to the universe or to God, if you're spiritual like me, or whatever that may be, it's something that is coming out of this just from me using my voice and encouraging others to use their voice. So 2026 for me has been fabulous and I can't complain. And I was just had a conversation with my mother not too long ago and I was saying, Mama, this moment is mine. And I put up a post this morning on my Instagram about celebrating your moment. So I would say, this is it. This is the moment. And I'm only 32 years old. So it's like it's all happening so fast. You have to grow up. My mom's been sick, having to take care of her, and then hosting a platform. It's just like finding the balance. And now I see what my colleagues and my peers have been saying as well too. But I must say 2026 for me has been fabulous. Other than the as you've talked about mental health, it has been stressful seeing the news cycle. But I try to exercise and I try to tune out because sometimes it can be overwhelming. And
Absolutely.
you can't pour from an empty cup. I've heard so many people say it that you cannot pour from an empty cup. How are you going to pour into other people and encourage them when your soul and your thoughts are empty? And that is something that I've learned. If you're going to be on the front lines, I don't know how Hope does it, but but Bree, you and Hope, especially Hope, I've seen her when she went up there to the Capitol in the bathroom when I'm in South Carolina, so we know the whole situation with homegirl down here, Nancy Mace. But I was like, I don't know how Bree and Hope does it. But I'm like, I need
Speaking
to
of
be
hope,
well rested.
speaking
Yes.
of hope, without giving too much away, I'll let you and the people in on something just to give you a little hint. I literally just told her face to face in person that I was running up here to do this live stream with you, just to give you about an idea of not only what we're doing behind the scenes, but how you are inspiring. And I'm encouraging you, sister, to keep going, little sister. I'm gonna tell you the same thing that these women have told me. Keep going. Just keep going. As long as you're here, keep going, baby. You got it.
Madison said something. She said most black trans women don't make it to 30 or beyond. And with me being here, it's like you have a destiny. You have a purpose, and that's to encourage the next generation of young trans women and young trans uh, men who are coming up, who need someone to look to, who are being put out of their homes, who are being abandoned because they can't live and be in their authentic truth. And especially growing up in the deep of it, in the Confederacy, the Bible Belt, South Carolina, which is deep. We know about the Stono Rebellion and so many things that have taken place down here. And it's just like, I'm not going to give up. And I think I'm one of the only few black trans women in South Carolina that has a platform, that is making a name, that is helping encourage other people that are in the LGBTQIA plus community to use their voice. Don't let anyone silence you or oppress you. So I have an assignment. I have to look for more groups that are in my area. If I can't just be the face online, yes, but now it's time for me to put action boots to work. So when I look at Hope, Hope is about that life. And what she does is she goes and she's not just online talking, and the same for you, Brie and Madison. Y'all are boots to ground. You are advocating in the spaces that little on me, I can't even get in. But
Yeah,
I'm
you might not be there yet, but you're on your way.
and it's been a blessing to be able to know that I'm touching people just from while having these conversations because I have these conversations with my brothers. Shout outs to K2, shout outs to you, Alexis. And Alexis says we are very proud and inspired by you, Bree and Stevie. Thank you, my diva. Thank you. Thank you, Alexis. And Alexis and me message about this all the time because she's also in South Carolina. And it's like, it's great to find other black trans women that are down here in South Carolina when it's deep in the Confederacy, and you guys know how old that is and where they're trying to take us back to, and what they want to put up instead of celebrating the Martin Luther Kings. June is Juneteenth. That's what they want to celebrate. They want to celebrate the Christopher Columbuses, and it's just like, hell no. We're going to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. We're going to celebrate Sojourner Truth. We're going to celebrate Maya Angelou, Angela Davis, who are a few. Line, her name is Line. She did the poem about Moore, where you know who I'm talking about. And she was saying about reparations to black people, all of those things. These is deep down here in South Carolina. I had the pleasure of sitting with Keith Boykin. And in his book, Why Does Everything Have to Be About Race? He broke down the chronological timeline from black people to slavery when we were on the ship to now in the current state of the world. So that's how I know so much because I read a lot and I study you and I listen to you and Madison and Craig and especially Hope. Hope is also a historian. And it's just like, if you're going to do this, you have to make sure that you are educating people and giving them the truth. Right now, we're living in an age of disinformation where they can take it and they can spin it and make it their narrative. That's how he won this election. And I keep telling my guests that trans people are not your enemy. We're not your enemy. LGBT people are not your enemy. Immigrants are not your enemy. But you made trans people public enemy number one. And now you have this Attorney General Ken Paxton, who he endorsed, saying we're going to create a detransition clinic. So it's dangerous for our LGBT youth that is coming up. So I want to make sure that I'm tackling the disinformation about trans people because, again, we're not the enemy. We're not the threat. We're not the reason that 1.8 billion of our hard-earned American taxpaying dollars is about to go to some insurrectionists who stole the damn Capitol, and we saw it with our own very two eyes on television. So again, we're seeing what's going on. Shout outs to Kwame Speaks. Hi, Kwame. Shout outs to you. And again, we need more black LGBT media. So, Kwame, thank you for being an inspiration to me. You and my brother King Jobs, and so many others. And of course, you, Bree. You don't know how much it means to me that you're sitting right here because I watch your commentary and I see you on the panel with all of these amazing trans women from Diamond Styles to Jayla. I mean, it's so many. Madison has been in the game for a long time. And I started Style by Stevie right after high school. So for me, the first trans women that I saw on television that have been an inspiration, that was the first question that I wanted to ask you. Who was some of the activists and women that inspired you growing up? For me, it was definitely Laverne, seeing her on the cover of Time magazine. Because I came out when I was what, 12? And then I fully came into my own when I started to get in high school. Moms instantly know everything. And so she just asked me, she said, like, she said, you like men, don't you? I said, yes. And she said, I'm not going to love you any less. You're my baby. I had you out of three brothers. Yes, four brothers, two sisters. And each and every one of us have our own personality. So it's like mothers have their own bond and relationship with each child. And with
Mhm.
me, she said, I could instantly tell something is wrong. Come talk to me about it. And she said, you're my baby. I'm not going to love you any less. And me and her have such a close relationship. And till this day, we have our disagreement. We bump heads sometimes. You know, as adults, we still bump heads with our parents, but it's not bad to the point where it's like, I don't like my mom. My mom is my superwoman. And without her, I would not be here. You would not have a Style by Stevie if it wasn't for her. And I said, I would go to the end of the world and back for this woman. So the same thing, even as it pertains to the whole DL Whisper situation. You came from Madison's mom. I'm very protective over my mother as well too, and she's very protective over me. So that's a sacred bond that nobody can get access to and break. So it's deeply and it's personal to me because I've had people try to come from my mom, and I'm just like, oh no, we're not doing that. I would go to
Mm.
the end of the world and back
Yeah,
for
that's why
that woman.
That's why I'm very limited with how I show my family online. I'm very limited in what I say about my family online. I'm very limited in sharing my loved ones online, period, because I'm very protective of them. And I know how I'm quicker to protect people I love than I am to protect myself when it comes to harassment. You can say what you want about me. Baby, I didn't heard it all. I'm fat, black, trans, femme, grew up in the hood. It ain't nothing that you're going to say to me about some superficial BS that I haven't heard before. And that stuff really doesn't affect me like that anymore. It really doesn't. It really don't move me when people have negative opinions about me, or when, well, I can't even say negative opinions. But when people have superficial opinions about me, just surface level stuff, oh, you're trans, oh, you're fat, oh, you're black, that kind of shit, that don't phase me, because I'm truly comfortable in my skin to a point that I don't see any of that as a flaw. I'm purposefully chubby. I designed this body. I designed this face. It's nothing you're going to tell me about the way that I look that's going to make me feel insecure. The fact that you have an issue with my Negro nose, or the fact that you have an issue with my hair texture, or my complexion, or my body frame, that's your issue. That is not an issue for me to have, because I don't have an issue with my body. I love my body the way that I am. And don't get me wrong, like anybody else, I still have security. I still have insecurities, and I had insecurities growing up, but I grew into loving myself. That was my whole goal in life, period, was to just love myself, to live this life to the fullest. I knew I had a limited amount of time here, and I didn't know for sure if I was going to have more than one chance. So the chance that I got now is the chance that I'm going to take advantage of. And that inspired me to transition. That inspired me to get into therapy. That inspired me to really find out how humans work, because I figured that if I could study psychology, and for all who don't know, psychology is just a study of human behavior. I study psychology so that I could understand how I worked, so I could help understand how my mind worked, and in the process of learning all that I could about recorded human history, I realized that there was nothing wrong with me. I realized that there's nothing wrong with my sisters of trans experience. I realized that there's nothing wrong with my brothers of trans experience. I realized that ain't shit wrong with being black. The problem is, like you mentioned earlier, the real enemy, the people who are against all of us. I don't think that a lot of cishet people, I don't think a lot of our black community, our straight black community, I don't think that they're realizing that the real reason that trans people are being perceived as public enemy number one, the real reason that they're putting this huge target on our back in the media, is because, again, we're truth tellers. We walk in our truth. If the average person who is not trans gives the average person who is trans, or just gives trans people a chance, opens your heart, opens your mind to the possibility of being and having relationships with trans people, then they will realize, and they would likely be inspired, that if this person can go out and completely defy societal norms, completely go against everything that we've been ingrained to believe when it comes to boy, girl, male, female, woman, man, if this person can break all of those boxes down, then I can break down my own boxes. you know, I can reach into myself and really unpack my own insecurities. I can really walk in my truth, and I can really live in my truth. And one thing that I think a lot of all people, once you're truly awoke, well, once you're truly awake, once you truly seeing yourself for who you are, once you become self actualized, once you become somebody who accepts your flaws, accepts your gifts, and becomes comfortable with you as a whole, then you start to see the world differently. And then you start to realize that oh, these people have been trying to keep us in boxes because they have been wanting to control us. These people have wanted us to conform to what they tell us we should do. And that's essentially what it is, you know. They use religion to try and control us. You know, they use laws to absolutely control us. But religion also comes in again with the laws because people who claim to hate trans people for political reasons are people who are also claiming to be Christian when we know that Christianity ain't got shit to do with hating nobody. But to answer your question, you asked me who inspired me. Of course, Maddie inspired me as well. That's why it's so surreal having a personal relationship with her now because it's like, girl, like you are my blueprint. You are the one who showed me that it was possible to be an entertainer and be trans. It was possible to be a voice that is heard, and it is possible to be a personality that is bigger than my transness. I think Maddie honestly has shown me that I could be known as trans, but I could be so unapologetically myself that trans ain't even the first thing that people think about when they think about me. I think for me personally, people who know me, people who've heard me, people who really pay attention to my voice, I think they know me as more of a big mouth than anything else. I think my mouth supersedes all of the superficial things because at the end of the day, being trans is a superficial thing. Unfortunately, it's something that isn't the biggest part of us. Any trans person you meet, the biggest part of them is not going to be the fact that they're trans. You're going to find people who are loving. You're going to find people who are caring. You're going to find people who are intellectual. You're going to find people who are funny. You're going to see so many things outside of our transness. And I think Maddie inspired me to do that. But like I was just saying recently in an interview, and I was speaking to some other young trans women. I was telling them that I came from a small town. I don't think a lot of people really understand the fact that I'm the first trans person to transition where I'm from, period. And I think that that blows a lot of people's minds, especially people younger than me, because they like, how the hell? Like, girl, really? Like, it wasn't no trans people before you, girl. Seriously. And I don't think that a lot of people understand. For one, I don't think people realize that I am as old as I am. But yes, I grew up in the 2000s. You know what I mean? I'm not a baby, you know. And when I and just in the past 15, 20 years since people like Laverne and Madison have been public figures, just the whole idea of trans has changed. Before those ladies came along, the average trans person was not living out openly trans. No. I
Yeah.
remember when I was growing up and when I was coming along to be stealth, that was the norm. Most of the black trans people I know were stealth. They were working in communities secretly. They were doing activism work secretly. You know, it was a lot of people who were activists, but you go on their Instagram page, you go on their Facebook, you go on their social media, it won't nothing about being trans. They were not openly trans to the public. And I'm just saying all of that to let the younger people know that so much has changed. So much has changed in a very little time. And yes, you will meet people who are my age or maybe even younger who may be the first trans person where they're from. But with the fact that I grew up before Madison blew up, I grew up before Laverne blew up, I grew up before Black trans women were visible in any form of entertainment and media. I grew up during a time where I didn't even know that trans was possible. I didn't even know that transgender was a thing. Again, I didn't grow up in the city. I didn't grow up in Baltimore, DC, Detroit, Chicago. None of the major cities where you might have went to school with a trans person. You might have grew up with it. No, that was not my existence. I was discovered, for lack of better words, I was discovered essentially on the streets by the ballroom girls. I ran away to Baltimore as a teenager just because I felt like I knew that there was nobody like me where I was from. I knew that there were other queer people, but where I was from, it was don't ask, don't tell. You know, you can have you could be the most sissified feminine man, but you still not going to talk about being gay. Where I was from when I was growing up. So when I ran away to the city, the girls scooped me up. You know, shout out to my trans mother, Deidre Danielle Day. I love you. Her, Chrissy Revlon, um, you know, Tasha, badass body Tasha. Those girls, some of the other ballroom girls, they essentially snatched me up and they was you know you one of us, right? Like Miss Thing, I don't know why you think you a butch queen because ain't nothing butch about you, honey. And they showed me. I saw firsthand in real life that it was possible to be born an assigned male at birth and to truly be able to transition into a woman and live my life being comfortable and happy in my skin, being comfortable and happy with what I saw in the mirror and truly being myself. There was a period of time when I was in middle school. I came out in the seventh grade as gay. And around that time, between middle school and going into high school, I used to try and act like a boy. I used to try and pretend to be a boy. I used to try and deepen my voice when I was home alone in the mirror. And I knew very early on that it wasn't going to work. But I also didn't know that I could legitimately live my life and be Bree Star. And so, had I not met those girls, had I not been introduced to ballroom, I'm not sure if Bree Star would exist. I'm absolutely not sure if I would exist in the same way I exist now. So that's why I always bring up the ballroom scene. That's why I share history about the ballroom scene because without ballroom and the women of ballroom who I met early on, I'm not sure if I would have the confidence that I have today. So yeah, so those are other folks who inspire me, but of course, everybody you've listed have inspired me as well. Yeah, yeah.
And when we talk about, because you do a lot of commentary on the ballroom scene, like you dive deep into it, all of the walks and everything. And when I got introduced to it, I watched Paris is Burning, and the first woman that I laid eyes on, and you know who I'm going to talk about, is Crystal Abasia.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love how unapologetic she was, how fearless she was. She said that all of my colors are beautiful, and I could relate to that. I'm like, embrace all of you. That's basically what she was saying. Embrace all of you. So you said when you look in the mirror, that's the first thing that came to mind is what Crystal Abasia said. She's no longer with us, may she rest in grace. But she said, all of my colors are beautiful. And I want to say that to any trans person that is watching both of us right now, because I get so many DMs from people. Um, one from a hetero straight woman, and she said, my son might be pan. I said, gender is fluid. Gender is fluid. And so is sexuality. And just embrace it. She was asking me all of the questions. So she was asking, like, how should I go about it? I said, just embrace it. Love it. This is your baby. This is your baby. This is yours. Let them express themselves the way they want to, the way that they feel to. You know, you deserve to be here. You deserve just that. And I have a saying that I always say to people, I would rather live in my truth than to live a lie. Because you got to
Mm-hmm.
tell another lie to cover up that lie. And especially in this day and age in DL culture, where it's just like, I got to find out the tea. No. And I think the reason why we still have DL culture is because the black collective for so long has looked at homosexuality as wrong, has looked at being trans as wrong, and it's just like, but I'm black too. I'm not going to choose my blackness over my transness. It's both. Take me as I am, as a whole, the whole package, or leave me at all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree completely. I'm that is my biggest inspiration for being visibly trans. Um, because I'm concerned about the future. I'm concerned about the future of trans people, and I'm concerned about the young trans people, in being part of the community for as long as I have been. um, I've seen a lot of people struggle. I've seen a lot of people struggle with familial relationships. I've seen a lot of trans people struggle essentially for being kicked out and exiled by their families, right? I see a lot of parents who disown their trans children even today. And that is my biggest inspiration in getting on this camera and getting over my own fears because realistically, we like the famous James Baldwin quote, a woke Negro is a woke Negro is an angry Negro, said James Baldwin. I like to add to that, a woke tranny is a scared tranny because we know that there's a target on our back. We know that we are dehumanized in the public eye. We know that we are so commonly taken out and so commonly people don't care outside of our community, especially. So, knowing all of the hardships that young trans people are going to face, that inspires me to talk my talk and be in front of this camera, regardless of the repercussions. Yeah, now that I'm visibly and openly trans in front of the camera, things have changed, you know. But I honestly wouldn't trade it for the world. The the positive changes have overshadowed the negative changes in so many ways. And again, like I said early in this interview, I'm just grateful to be a part of the community. I remember looking up to a lot of these people, and I still do. I idolize some of my sisters and brothers now who I literally spend time with. Um, but I didn't realize that the Black trans community was going to be so welcoming. Yes, we can be messy. We can definitely be messy, honey. Lord knows I love the mess, baby. But but through it all, from what I've seen behind the scenes and in front of the camera, Black trans people stick together. We got each other's back. We might talk a little shit to each other in the process, but yeah, it's the love is real. And honestly, I think sometimes weirdly enough, that's why we butt heads. I think sometimes that's why popular Black trans people butt heads because I think we do tend to idolize each other and we tend to have these unrealistic expectations of each other. I think sometimes we look at each other as being superhuman, and in reality we're all just human. We're all just flawed humans walking the earth. But one thing I think we all have in common is that we are more open to accepting people than it may seem, because I think most, if not all of us, understand what it's like to be rejected for reasons that don't make sense. I think we all understand what it's like to be rejected for things that have nothing to do with anybody else, for not hurting anybody else, just living our lives and being ourselves. We have to hear the BS. So I will let the people know because I know it can be scary to be around or to come into a group of people who already seem like they have it all or who already seem like they have it all together. But to my young queers, to my young trans, to all of my LGBTQ POC, Your people are here. Your people are here, and we're ready to welcome you with open arms. Absolutely. Yeah, it's true.
Yes.
Because we do, unfortunately, I think a lot of us feel it necessary to make up for the people who have lost their families and lost their families and lost people that they loved, again, for reasons that don't make sense.
This year alone, Bree, has been a scary year. I mean, I remember reading a story of a 19-year-old trans person at a University of Washington was stabbed fatally. And then it's another story that I just saw somewhere not too long ago. And it's just like, my God, another black trans woman stabbed in Bushwick, Brooklyn. And it's just like, we have to look over our shoulders constantly. So when I see the whole conversation, because even I chimed in on the whole commentary as it pertains to DL Whisperer and his rhetoric and how dangerous it is. It's like you're putting even more targets on trans women. So it's not
Mhm.
just Madison, it's not just Dominique, but you're putting targets on other black trans women. So I was like, I felt too. And I'm pretty sure that there are other black trans women that felt the same way I felt. I'm like, wait, what did I do? I don't know this individual. So when you say I want all of the trans people, I don't like all trans people. I can't repeat what he said here on YouTube, but you guys have seen the commentary, seen the video that he put out. It's just like, how can you put a rope us in all together? Any beef that you had was with Madison, and even with her, that's wrong. That's wrong to threaten her life. That's wrong to threaten any trans woman's life. When black trans women, we are losing our lives at an alarmingly high rate. It is an alarmingly high rate of femicide for biological black women as well too. So it's just like you can't catch a break. We all are under that umbrella of black and woman. The only difference is we're trans and we're also being targeted. So when that individual made his statement saying, "I don't, I'm gonna hit Madison so hard, I'm not even gonna do the misgendering because I don't like that." But when he said that he was gonna do A, B, C, and C to hit the whole community, I'm like, wait, how did I get in it? I'm trans. I, I don't even know you. Like,
That,
why?
that's the point. That was the point that I was trying to make with my overall commentary. I sat on speaking about that child for so long, and we all did. We were aware. The whole community was aware when he first started coming for the trans girls, and when he first started being transphobic. And it took so long for me to speak on him because I didn't even want to bring him any more shine. And to be honest, a lot of the girls had hit me up and was like, don't even help spread his platform. Don't even, you know. And I agreed completely. But once he got charged and arrested, and the way I was seeing Black people be behind him and support him threatening the lives of other Black people, let's take trans out of the conversation. This
Yes.
person is literally threatening the life of other Black people, an entire group of Black people who fight for the rights of all Black people. This person is threatening to take us out. Somebody who has been in, people who have been in the front lines since the civil rights movement began, people who have been in the front lines since the Great Migration, people who have been on the plantations. This person is coming out talking about taking our lives, people who are fighting for the Black community. And y'all supporting this? Are you
Not only
dumb?
that, you created a whole campaign, a whole GoFundMe for that, and black women, hetero black women who are transphobic and homophobic, donated to that campaign. And it's the same with the whole Chud the Builder situation. Chud the Builder went around calling black people the N word, and
You
he
know I know
now
that
has
crack.
his
You know I know that cracker.
1.25 million.
I had just did a video The week before Chud shot that man, I had just did a video on Dalton. I just did a video on Dalton warning Dalton that he was about to set himself up for failure. The police had just told Dalton that what he was doing in most states, it would be legal for people to attack him in self defense. You are harassing people. And now, here we go. And now they're trying to make the black man the enemy. And of course, yet again, you got black trans people speaking up for the black man. But when is the black man going to speak up for the trans? Well, the only
And
black
black
man
men,
who's the only black man who's spoken up recently regarding anything trans has been the nigga that we talking about that's locked up right now, calling on the NAACP to try and get him up out of the situation, even though his no lawyer, no public defender even wants to take this child's case. And y'all going to donate to him as if he got a chance in hell, as if anything he did was justified. The public defenders don't even want to take the case because they telling the child that if he don't plead guilty, he's going to jail for a very, very long time. And this dummy, we have proof, the whole internet has seen proof that you are guilty of aggravated stalking. It's not a question whether you're guilty. It's not a question whether it was premeditated. The only question is, why the hell ain't you figured out yet? I think the child is slow. And I think that delusional is a form of slow. And I think that anybody who supports the child is slow as hell. But yet y'all call the transgenders delusional. Y'all delusional as hell for trying to give a nigga some money to get out of jail and take out a whole group of people. That's slow.
and it stems from their own insecurity. That transphobia, it stems from their own insecurities. Like, and I remember, and you seen the interview with Hope. I asked her that. I said, in a way, it's almost like we're in competition with biological women, and it's just like there's enough room for everybody to shine. There's enough room for us to shine. The thing that we have in common, and Funky Dineva got some backlash for what he just said just recently, is black men. That's the common denominator, and it's not all black men. It's the black men who think like a Lil Bootsy, who is transphobic. It's the black men who think like a Stephen A. Smith, who is a
Honey,
misogynist,
I
and
don't
so
and
many
I don't
others.
need and I say that they slow because I don't even think that they're able to put two and two together. Like it's common sense. These same people who are transphobic are also anti-women. They're also misogynistic. These men ain't here for no women. You only supporting them and riding with them on the transphobia. But you supporting them is giving them a platform to hate women altogether, whether trans or cisgender, dummy. And that's why I said I feel like they slow. The example you use, Little Boozy. Little Boozy is known for being transphobic, but we want to skate over the fact that he's also a predator enabler. We want to escape the fact that he's also a predator apologist. Little Boozy, anytime somebody bring up RSOs, registered offenders, anytime anybody brings up offenders, predators, pedos, anytime anybody brings up that category of men around Little Boozy, you know what Little Boozy does? He shuts that down. And he says that all men who are prosecuted, charged, and convicted of being predators, we shouldn't talk about them because most of them aren't really predators. Most of them were set up by underage girls and things like that. Like, he's not here for y'all either, dummy. Like I said about recently, the same thing that I said about the Tasha K's and the Just Hilarious. These same women who hate trans people for no reason are the same women who will hate other women for no reason.
Male
And this and
identified is what I call it. Male identified.
And these are the same women who align with the men the Stephen A. Smiths and the Boozies who don't like women and don't respect women and don't see women as being equal to them in any way, shape, or form. Stephen A. Smith was just talking crazy about Meg Thee Stallion while she was the one getting cheated on.
And it's not just Megan Thee Stallion, it's Jasmine Crockett, is Kamala Harris. And I'm like, dude, who hurt you? Because you're always coming at women, and I think his name is I cannot remember his name. Steven Jackson questioned him. He said, "Why don't you have this same smoke for men? You're always coming at women, but why do you not have this same smoke for men?" And it was a basketball player that just called him out saying that we need real media. We need you to tell the truth and stop shucking and jiving with just the correct truth. So if
And then
anything, go ahead, Brie. I'm sorry.
no, I was just thinking as we were talking about him, I was thinking like this Negro got the nerve to be trying to put the idea in the universe that he should be running for office. You are not the type of nigga that we need in our office, honey. We don't even want you in our office at the podcast. We don't even want you in your office on camera, nigga. And you think that we want you to represent us in the 50 states? I know you can lie. We want you to stop talking about pop culture and current events altogether. Go back to the people dribbling.
Stick
Go
to
back to the
sport.
people. Go back to the people throwing the ball because at this point they're smarter than you. We would give them a platform to talk, but for years.
And why wasn't this same energy reciprocated for LeBron James? We couldn't see the same thing. We seen the video of you and LeBron having an exchange on the basketball court, but we couldn't hear the audio. That energy was different, and then you addressed it on your show the next day. Oh, another black woman he came for was Joy Reid.
He's gonna continue to come for women like Stephen A. Smith, for example, is a prime example of an insecure man, a loud, wrong, insecure man, and unfortunately, the most insecure men tend to be the ones who are the loudest and the wrongest. But he's clearly an example of an insecure man. Any woman who he talks down on is a woman who he perceives to be better than him in some way. Stephen A. Smith ain't gonna talk down on no woman that's lesser than him, somebody who's actually genuinely in the gutter struggling. Those ain't the type of women he talk about. He talk about women who he know are more respected than him. He talk about women who he know are more popular than him. He talk about women who are smarter than him, women who are more accomplished than him, women with better resumes than him. Any woman you can name that Stephen A. Smith has talked about is a woman that wouldn't even give Stephen A. Smith a second thought outside of him talking about them, right? But then, like the LeBron James example you gave, whenever he talks about men, he's either shucking and jiving or he's looking over his shoulder as he's speaking. Scared. He's insecure. He's scared of men and intimidated by women. Long story short.
And that's the same thing we're seeing with this regime. And I think even as it pertains to DL Whisperer, you are intimidated by black trans women. You celebrate black biological women, and Madison said it best. You used your transphobia as a vehicle, and it's the same way people voted for Trump. They voted for him because he hates the people that they hate. That means trans people. That means immigrants. That means anybody that is other, anything that is other, or any marginalized group. They hate that. And there are black biological women out here who are trans women. Not all, but some who think like a Tasha K, who think like a Just Isn't Hilarious, who think like a it's another as well too. Tokyo Tony. Add her to that list as well.
Now Tokyo Tony and Tasha K and Just Hilarious. Remember I was talking about slow? Remember, I was talking about slow, and that's all I'm
Yes.
gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Love black women. Love black women as a whole. But but there's some slow ones. Slow ones do exist.
And y'all donated to him. You donated to oppress somebody else, and you're a black woman as well too. But see, there, this is what I
Huh?
was saying when there are male identified women who are not for the empowerment of other women. And you can see it from your Nicki Minaj's, you can see it from your Tasha K. A woman can come out and say, hey, this happened to me, A, B, and C. And they will be like, they are the type of women, in my opinion, that would be like, what are you wearing when it happened to you? Maybe you shouldn't have been dressed like that when it happened to you. Those are the type
Speaking
of
of
women that
Nikki,
they are.
speaking of Nikki, she has been on my mind lately, and I think that's because she's been in the media. But I think also I was a fan of Nikki. When Nikki first came out, that was I just told y'all I grew up in the 2000s. Nikki dropped Beat Me Up Scotty in 2008. She dropped Pink Friday in 2010. She was everything that us girls at that time was waiting for. The trans girls, honey, the lesbians, baby, the cisgender women, she was everything we wanted. Female rap was disappearing altogether. Little Kim wasn't getting the booking in the back end that she needed. And also, a lot of us were upset with the way that it didn't seem as if she was comfortable in her black womanhood by the way that she was altering her appearance. So that was disappointing. Foxy Brown was going through her mental health stuff. Eve was going through her mental health stuff and also trying to get out of the spotlight. Female rap was destitute before Nicki came along. And it is so disappointing. It is beyond disappointing. I am one of the girls who walked around in a pink bob. I am. Not ashamed of it. I also didn't know that the Nicki Minaj I was celebrating is the Nicki Minaj that we know today.
And it's heartbreaking. You
Nicki,
sat on that stage with Erica Kirk, who is the wife of the racist podcaster. And I cackled when you did your commentary when it happened to her husband. You said he was talking out of the wrong side of his neck, and I'm, oh no, okay. But I know a lot of us as black people were thinking that same sentiment. I know for me is one as well too, because this guy said that black women do not have the brain processing power. He also said that empathy is for the weak. He continued to say all of these crazy things about our community, the black community. It's just like, and then you place him on the Department of Education, this big banner of him. Jesse Jackson just passed away. You could have put Jesse Jackson up there, but you decided to put a white supremacist on the Department of Education. But go on, Bree. She sat on stage with Erica Kirk and she was like, just let the boys be boys. That was a complete dog whistle to trans people. And that's the type of shit that Tasha K does. Well, I'm a real biological woman. I have a uterus. I can give birth. I can do all of these things. And she's married to her husband. She offered her husband some intimacy, and her husband said, "No, I don't want that."
he don't even
So,
want that broken pussy. He don't even the idea that a woman, any woman, whether you're trans or not, because I think they forget that trans women be having vaginas too. Any woman who holds her womanhood in her crotch is just as dumb as any man who thinks that he's better than a woman because of what's in his crotch. I can't take these people serious, but they focus with Nikki in particular. They focus a lot on the let boys be boys. But again, these are the same women who don't like women. On that same stage, that same day, in that same interview, talking to that same white woman in front of that same crowd of racist white people, she also said that white women are beautiful and white women's beauty matters too, and that black women need to stop hating on white women. She don't like you, sister. She don't like her damn self. I'm convinced that Nikki, and this is a hypothesis. I have to say this for legal reasons. This is just my thoughts. I've never met the lady in person, so I don't know. But I get the impression that Nikki is still suffering from a form of Stockholm syndrome. I get the impression that Nikki has made her allegiance a long time ago and she's aligning with the predator. I think Nikki is very aware that she aligns with the pedo. I think Nikki is very aware that she aligns with the registered offender. I mean, she's literally married to the nigga. She's literally sister to the nigga. She's literally paying people's legal defenses for being predators. She's literally paying off women to stay silent because of them being preyed on by the predator. This ain't somebody who's for women. This ain't somebody who's for black people. But she should. But anytime she's beefing with anybody lighter than her, she will surely remind you that she's a black woman. She's using you, dummy. She don't like you. She's not here for you. I've come to the conclusion a long time ago that it is not a coincidence that Nikki is always aligned with a predator, whether it's Trump, whether it's Kenneth Petty, or whether it's her brother Jelani.
My
Period.
God. And they're not only male identified, but they're male centering. So just as you said with them disregarding other women's experiences, gaslighting them, not believing other women they're saying and giving the warnings that, hey, my sister, this happened to me. It could happen to you too. And then you will come back to me saying, you warned me, but they don't want to listen. Male centering.
I think I think it has happened to her. We already know that Tasha K has been honest about it happened to her, about her being assaulted as a child. Nikki hasn't admitted it, but for somebody who's listened to her music as much as I have in the way that I have and growing up to her music, I believe she has too. I believe that that is an experience that she is aware of. I mean, I believe that that is an experience that she has had as well. And of course, that's not something I would wish on anybody, but it doesn't make sense with the way it doesn't make sense for me with the way that she moves in the world for anything else to be the case.
And then you doubled down on it. You got on your ex account and you doubled down on it. And you were friends with Madison. How do you think that that made Madison feel? You were her friend, and the entire LGBTQ plus community who has been rocking with you hard. It's a slap in our face. I've been stopped when she married that guy. I'm like, and this woman Jennifer Hugh came out and told her story, her testimony. The story has not changed, but you continue to support your husband and ride with your husband.
Well, allegedly she sent him back to New York, is what the streets are saying, because his address on the registry changed. He is no longer using her home in Cali as his home address. He is back in Jamaica, Queens, based on the registry.
He can't go near a playground. Your husband can't go near a playground. He can't even go to a Chuck E. Cheese. And this is the man you
Can't
decide to go with. Disregarding other women who is just like with Donald Trump and Epstein, the biggest political scandal in American history. And Melania, You're married to this man. You're out here doing press with this man. You're out here. You had to hurry up and come out and make a statement. He didn't know you were going to get out there and speak. We didn't have a clue that you were going to get out there and speak. And you went and you had to run and get
Baby,
ahead of the train that was crashing off of the tracks and do a press statement. And he was crashing out on True Social. Because we've seen the photo of you pictured with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. So you can't pull the wool over our eyes and try to gaslight us and say that we already know the truth.
baby, honey. And as the Epstein files were released, the real reason she came out and made that statement because a lot of people were putting two and two together. And Jeffrey Epstein himself has alleged in documentation that Melania was one of his girls who he handed off to Trump.
And you came over here as one of the models because let's be real, there was supposed to be a whole modeling agency. Remember, he had a modeling agency, Trump University. He had all of these things as a result of that.
Honey, he's a predator, honey. He is when you think about the child trafficking rink in the world, he's one of the heads of it. And that is why many of us believe that Israel, aka Netanyahu, has him by the balls. Because just like most of these most of I was about to say dictators, but just like most of these politicians in other countries, they have the unredacted Epstein files. Trump, they know who you are. You may be able to control the media in the United States, but you can't control it worldwide. And that's why these countries are disassociating themselves from the United States to disassociate themselves from Trump. And that is why Trump seems to be doing stuff that doesn't make sense because a lot of people have him under their control. He's being puppeteered by a lot of people. And to be honest, he can be puppeteered by anybody as long as you take the facts for what they are.
Flattery.
He's a he's a child predator worldwide. He's head of the rink, at least one of them.
And as much as you try to run from it, the facts are out there. There are women who have given their testimony, who just have given their testimony not too long ago. He's trying to bring back the Handmaid's Tales. Shout outs to the Sean. Shout outs to all of you. You guys are looking forward to my conversation here with Bree. Like, I can't believe this is surreal and we're going over an hour and we're just flowing. And my other colleagues, K Tooks and Bubs, wanted to see the interview, but he's going to have to catch the replay. But Deshaun and you guys are here. I appreciate it. He's being interviewed by K Tooks. So shout outs to K Tooks, my brother, and shout outs to Bubs as well. Is too brainwashed a part of listen. And that's exactly what this is. Bree just said that a few minutes ago, where you can use religion and you can manipulate people's minds and indoctrinate them heavily to say, well, this isn't of God. This isn't the godly way that you should be doing this. You should not be living your life this way. You should not be existing in this way. You should be in a prayer, basically in a prayer closet. You should be on your knees, fully covered. You should not be out in the open, living loudly, boldly, proudly. No, stay in the closet. This is what this regime, because I don't call this an administration at all. What Joe Biden had was an administration. What Obama had was an administration. What Jimmy Carter had was an administration. This here is a regime, and they are governing the same way an authoritarian leader would in Germany, the same way an authoritarian leader. Remember Gaddafi? Remember Mussolini? We can go down a list of authoritarian leaders. That's exactly how Donald Trump is governing. They went to Hungary and they studied Viktor Orban. And it's no surprise of mine that they are governing with a chokehold placed loyalist who will do his bidding for him, the same way they just overturned Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And now Republicans in every city, state to state, are going to go on ahead and say we're going to pass it. We're going to go on ahead and we're going to eliminate black districts, wipe them out completely, take away black voting rights. We're going to make it difficult for black people to vote. I wouldn't be surprised if they flip it around and they say, "Hey, let's bring back literacy tests. Let's bring back poll taxes." Or make queer
Baby,
people wear pink triangles because they made them do that in Germany.
baby, I it blows my mind that during this last election, when it was Kamala versus Trump, it blows my mind that a large segment of the black community fell for the misinformation and the disinformation. It blows my mind that there were black people who fell for the idea that your vote didn't matter. It blows my mind that in 2026, people are willing to believe that their vote doesn't matter. If your vote didn't matter, they wouldn't be trying to take it from you. If your vote didn't matter, your ancestors wouldn't have been lynched for it. If your vote didn't matter, then the Jewish community would not have helped to get black people the right to vote in the first place. Elon Musk, paid millions of dollars to bamboozle niggas, and a lot of y'all fell for it.
Oh, don't forget the
Y'all
$5
even had to,
million dividends, Bree. Don't forget the $5 million
huh?
dividends because he promised them $5 million. Where's your $5 million now?
His friends got plenty millions. He done collected, him and his family done collected millions, honey. They done collected Donald Trump wasn't even officially a billionaire until he became president. Presidents ain't supposed to be making money off of being presidents. So how did this man officially become a billionaire after he became the president? If he was such a great businessman, why wasn't he? Well, if he was such a great businessman, because that's the reason that a lot of y'all claim to vote for him. A lot of people claim to have voted for him because he's a great businessman. That was the reason for them voting for him the first time being stupid. But if he was such a great businessman, how the hell did Rihanna become a billionaire before him? If he was such a great businessman, how the hell did Beyonce and Jay-Z become billionaires before him? He is white. He was born into money. He should have been a billionaire when we met his cracker ass.
Art of the deal. Art of the deal. Remember, y'all? And he didn't even write that book. And let me tell you, and that's another thing, Bree. Shout outs to Deshaun. These black gay conservatives out here, like Rob Smith online, and there's so many others. Trust your turn is coming. They've attacked us trans people, trans women, but your turn is coming because Hope Giselle, shout outs to our girl, our sis, just did a video where you got RFK Jr. saying we're going to take away HIV medications. We're going to do these things. We're going to strip away the protections that queer people need. So to the black queer men out here who are conservative and supporting Donald Trump, your turn is coming. You're going to have your wake-up call. The same way Byron Donalds in Florida and the same way for my city of South Carolina, Tim Scott is getting their wake-up call as well too. So when they spin that wheel because we're playing Russian roulette with people's lives and it lands on black gay men, you will be impacted by some sort of way as well too. Because
Oh,
again,
baby,
y'all
they
made
trying
us
you mentioned them that their turn is coming. Baby, their turn is here. Little do they realize, honey, that if their president who they're supporting continues to turn it the way that he turns it, then they're going to be turned in hospital beds, honey, because the goal is to stop PrEP so that all of us can die from AIDS again. No shade. And if you can't fucking see that, you're a damn dummy. Why the hell else would they be taking away PrEP?
and it's an Ebola outbreak right now as we speak in the Congo as well. And our FK Jr. is in charge of our health care. Help us, God.
Swear. Child, RFK Jr. shouldn't be in charge of nobody's motherfucking health when he can't even talk without sounding like he smoked a pack of Newport 100s.
Again, and
I'm
this is the same man who snort baby powder off, let's just say baby powder off of a toilet seat. And this is the man, him and Dr. Oz are in charge of our health care. And now they're rolling back on PrEP, all of the life saving medications that people need when it comes to intimate health. And you've got black queer men like a Rob Smith online, and there's so many. Amir Odom is another one as well too, that are out here, stumping saying, well, maybe Amir Odom is one who basically, and my shout outs again to my colleague Bubs the God, that was one of the videos that he incorporated one of your videos into, about how you have some black queer men who want to take the T. He was basically going to a pride event and he was asking people, how do you feel about, trans people being a part of the community, or maybe we should just take the TQIA off. I'm like, wait a minute. You cannot take
Pride wouldn't
away.
exist. Pride wouldn't exist without trans people. It started as a riot that was led by trans people. The
Marsha P.
fuck are you
Johnson,
talking
Cynthia
about?
Ramirez. You cannot, that was something that he did when he first got in office. He was saying that he was going after Stonewall and they're going to take the T off of Stonewall. Like his attacks on us, the onslaught on trans people when Donald Trump got in office just is nonstop. You're pushing us out of the military, you're pushing us out of this position, you're pushing away books and literature on historical figures, black figures, and also prominent figures who are in the LGBTQ plus community. Hi, Kendra. Hey, girl. Also sharing needles. Yes, it's not only queer people that are going to be in trouble. It's also straight people as well too. So to the
And
black
you thought
queer
that they
men,
would have learned that and you thought that they would have learned that from the first AIDS HIV epidemic. It took for there to be children who were born with HIV for them to even say the word in the media, for them to even say HIV or AIDS. It took for them to realize that straight people were dying too. It took for them to, they should have realized by now that sexuality is not as black and white as they want it to be. Sexuality is not as black and white as we're led to believe it is.
gay people are not as bright as I thought. Listen, Bree was one of the ones. Listen, let me go down a list of people who warned about Project 2025, screaming to the mountaintops about how dangerous this thing was if this man ever got back in office. I know my brother Demario King Jobs was one. I know T.S. Madison and Craig were right there on their platform. I know Bree. That's how I got introduced to you, because you got into it with somebody on there, and I'm like, who is she? I love her commentary. She's funny. And then I started watching your videos, and I'm like, oh yes, I love this. And I started sharing it with my colleague. Deshaun is one of my colleagues. And I started sharing it with him and Bubs. And it was like a chain reaction. We're sharing your videos amongst ourselves. I'm like, okay, did I miss something? Because I'm always doing interviews. And I'm like, in my downtime, I can catch Fairy Puss. I can catch T.S. Madison and Craig. I can catch my girl Hope. I can catch Riley Knox. All of everybody who's doing something out here on the front lines, who have been warning about Project 2025, especially Hope. She's saying, okay, they they put it in 900 pages, and the thing is, they know that some of our people, black people, will not read it. But there were slides out here, literally, that was saying, okay, we're going to take away this, we're going to take away this, we're going to take away this. If you would have read some of the bullet points, you would understand that your rights are under attack. Now you're starting to see your gas prices go up. Gas is now $4 per gallon down here in South Carolina. And in Los Angeles, it's even higher. It's like $7. Coach D speaks from Midas Touch Network. I had him on not too long ago, Bree, and he was saying, "Hey, I'm in the Cali area." She's not lying.
Yeah, yeah. My manager lives in LA. It's not a lie.
Stimulating, yes. It was in Project 2025. If they go after, because they're touting going after the 14th Amendment, do y'all know what's in the 14th Amendment? That's same sex marriage. That's interracial marriage. That's anything that's different that they don't want. But here's the hypocrisy, because Justice Clarence Thomas is married to a whole white woman.
You know that they're alleging that Justice Clarence Thomas is in the Epstein files, redacted for his interactions with somebody who isn't even preschool age,
I
a
believe it.
baby.
I believe it because I'm going to quote, I'm going to put two words out here. Anita Hill. We haven't forgot Clarence. Anita Hill. And I'm pretty sure there are other women that has happened to as well too.
And I thank you. And I thank you. And I thank you, honey. Yes, yes, yes. What else do you want to discuss with me before we get out of here, Stevie?
Oh my God, Bree, this has
With
been an honor. This has been a dream come true. This has just been, it's so surreal. It's a full circle moment from watching you on my TV screen
yeah.
and sharing your videos with my colleagues. It's just like, again, our opinions are both in sync because I study y'all. Y'all paved the way for me. And this full circle moment is happening. It's just like, wow. Same here in Washington State. The last thing I wanted to discuss with you is, and I'm pretty sure we've seen the conversation. Shout outs to Madison Outlaws. She just had Christian A. Smith on, and Christian A. Smith. That's what allyship looks like. So the last part of our conversation is what I wanted to talk with you about, which is allyship, because I know there's a lot of straight people out here. It's just like, what can I do? Put your money where your mouth is. From my perspective, put your money where your mouth is. If you want to help the dolls, if you want to help us out, put your money where your mouth is. Donate to causes
Invest in
that
us.
help trans women. Donate to us. They're taking away, uh, what is it? Gender reaffirming surgery, or gender affirming care. They're taking all of these things under from the Trump regime. The Trump regime is doing this, so you can help fund with the trans woman that is coming up on her own. Pay her way. That's what you can do. Put your money where your mouth is. Advocate. Stand up. And that's what we're seeing more and more in people within our community, is in the Black collective, uh, do. Like a Vic Mensa. Vic Mensa is another. He did a whole, because I love his videos where he's
Love
going
Vic Mensa.
picking the
Love Vic
oranges.
Mensa. That's another person. That's another person. That's what allyship looks like.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about, Bree. Is I know a lot of people who are hetero and a part of the Black hetero collective are like, what can I do to support my trans brothers and sisters? How can I help? How can I be of service and an ally to them? What advice would you tell them?
Invest in us. Invest in us. And investing doesn't always mean money. Following us, listening to us talk, sharing our content that you enjoy, being in our comments, inspiring us, DMing us to inspire us, just remind us to keep it going. That is a huge help. But if you do have extra money, if you do have the dollars, invest in us. Donate to our platforms, donate to our causes, buy our merch. Little things like that goes a long way. For example, if you're somebody who's in charge of putting together events, look into trans creators, look into trans musicians. For a lot of y'all who don't know, the guy who writes and produces all of these rap songs for the baddies is a black trans man. We are here. Black trans comedians are here. You got Marsha's Plate podcast, which I am a co-host
Oh,
on.
yes.
Invite us to events. You have Monroe Elise, who's an incredible speaker, along with Hope Giselle and T.S. Madison. You know, invest in us. Check us out. When you go to our pages, if you have the extra energy, if you have the opportunities, if you have the access, click on our links. We are literally giving it to you. We want y'all to take everything that we can offer. Take advantage of the Black trans community. We are here for all of us, not just trans people.
Absolutely.
That's
And I would say
that's the
again,
biggest advice I could give.
and I would also
That's the
say
biggest
again,
advice I could give.
trans
I'm
people,
sorry.
no, I would say trans people, we are not your enemy. We are here to breathe and exist. We are here because we are human beings and we deserve to walk the earth as such. We're beautiful and unique in our own way, and that's what makes us all different. And since y'all love to bring God and scripture into this, God made us all unique in his own likeness and in his own image. Since y'all love to bring God into this, or whatever deity, the universe, or whatever you worship, God made queer people, and that means trans women. We're here, we're not going anywhere. And as much as you try to erase our existence, push us out of the military, push us out of media, push us out of any space, we will still show up. And again, Bree, before we go, I want to say thank you and give you your flowers. You and send Madison my love. Send this to her. Thank you all. Hope as well too for continuing to break down those doors for women like myself that are young, that are just, getting their foot in the door. I've been doing this platform for a long time, and it's now coming full circle. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for continuing to be a voice for each and every one of us that in the community that are scared. Because I know when he got elected, I was terrified. I'm like, I could lose my platform, I could lose everything. But I'm just like, I'm not in this alone. I'm not in this fight alone. And there are other people who are advocating. And when I put on your videos, I think the Charlie Kirk video was the one. I cackled. I'm like, okay, I'm not in this alone. This may seem like times are rough right now, but there are other people, my sisters, who are out here fighting and advocating right alongside with me as well too. And like John Lewis said, you have to be the good kind of trouble. So again, I want to say thank you for being an inspiration to me. You, Madison, Hope, Riley, Laverne, Peppermint, Angelica, Dominique, all of y'all. Thank y'all so much. Connie as well too, the supermodel Connie Fleming, who's walked in Terry Mugler's fashion show. I've also sat with her. Thank y'all so much for shattering Tracy Norman Africa as well, one of the first Black trans women to be on the Clairol hair color box. Little history.
The
Thank you
first.
all.
The first.
Yes, thank you. Fashion dolls.
Thank you.
Let everyone know where they can follow you at, because of course I'm going to bring you back. This was a dream come true and a blessing.
Baby, you can find me on all social media platforms. Just search for the Fairy Puss. FAIRYPUSS. And you will find your girl, honey. I will be key cackling in the screen in front of you anywhere, anytime you need me.
There you
Thank
go.
you, Stevie.
Thank you, Bree. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
I'm gonna
much.
try not to tear up. I'm gonna try not to tear up. I'm gonna hold it back till after. But thank you so 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 much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fashion
And peace, love, and blessings to all of y'all.
fashion dolls, ladies and gentlemen, Fairy Puss. Joining me tomorrow we have Will Preston. But this was one for the books, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So thank you. Thank you so much. Till next time, fashion dolls. Take care.